Da-da-da-da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. This is my show, What's My Good Cheer, that I show up Monday to Friday. I don't necessarily know when I'm going to do it. I wish I could have a set schedule, but I'm trying to build a life for myself, an enjoyable life that does make it so that my life is sometimes adjusted to somebody else's schedule, right? Or to an opportunity that might not ever come across my path again. Sometimes it's in those small emergencies, right? I got no air conditioner. That's the big project this week. And that was something that was thrown into the wrench of my life, and my life does have to adjust around that a little bit, right? My budget will have to adjust to that. Also, the timings, right? Because we're going all week without that air conditioner. Payday will come, and I want to make sure that as close to payday, we get it resolved and we're back on track again. Once it's taken care of, it's taken care of again, right? There is no crying over spilt milk, right? Those funds are gone and you just carry on. And for the most part, you never even notice, right? You notice the nice air conditioning or you notice the nice outfit, but you don't notice the money that's being spent on these things. Lots of times I what do you call that, cripe a little bit about the money that I have to divvy out for the things that I need. But somehow it works out everything, and it's kind of miraculous because my entire life I have always been not a penny pincher. I've always spent like that was my last dollar. I've always been that person, but there was always that feeling there of there's never enough. And you see how I'm going like this in my at my throat, because it was a terrible feeling to live day to day wondering, where the groceries are going to come from, or how you're going to pay the bill, or how you're going to explain to the bill company why you're not paying your bill and try and get stall outs. I'm just so happy that I stay on top of my bills. It makes it so that I don't have those stresses that take away from those enjoyments that I'm now creating for myself. And if I need something, I'll just take care of it. I will forget that money is gone, right? And something else will pop in. If it wasn't that, it might have been something else. But these, right? These are lessons for me, 100%. And I'm not so proud of myself all the time of how I deal with the bills, right? But I am grateful, and I am recognizing and patting myself on the back that I am attempting to learning finances from a totally crash credit, you know, from coming from almost being homeless. I came within 24, 48 hours of truly becoming homeless, and it was just sequencings of little miracles that over a course of a few months, well, since then, but really steady, heavy. And I was in such a desperate situation. And when you're in desperate situations, I get it. Any kind of offering of help, any string, any piece of hope, you will cling to that and be grateful for that, because you've hit that bottom and you can't bring yourself up, but you can follow the instruction of somebody that might have the knowledge of how you can get out of a situation. And that's the point that I started all of this, and I have no intentions of going any further backwards than, right? where I'm sitting right now because I'm constantly, forever and ever, just moving, just moving forward. And I might not be perfect in that movement, you know, but I recognize that I do try. So I'm going to give myself that little bit of credit. And I think, this is coming from being a spectator, not just in the story that I'm playing out, but in those characters that get to come across my path and I get to come across theirs, because it's always a mutual give and take. But I'm recognizing and I'm sitting there and I'm paying attention, right? I understand there are parts of me hard at work, but I am paying attention. And sometimes it's just in my focus of knowing what needs a little bit of help, what needs a little bit of redirection, what needs a little bit of cheerleading, and what needs a little bit more, right? Accountability. And I've needed all of those things in certain parts of my life consistently, many, many times, each one of them, right? But that is what life is all about, right? So I was sitting here today and I was just reminiscing a little bit about how we don't appreciate the world that we're living in, how we spend too much time looking at the negative. It is truly, and it's not just even normally happily people or normal people that don't have a lot of ups or downs in their life, but people who are already beaten to the ground, people who are I don't know, hurt by their upbringing or those traumas that they've had to go through. Sometimes it's in that consistent heartbreak, when you let those walls down. And I'm just going from my own experience, those painful moments where you say, this person's amazing. This person would never hurt me, right? And you let all those walls down, and for a moment you could be super super happy, and you can, right, I almost said you could get sucked into that happiness, but you're meant to be sucked into that happiness, right? Even knowing that you may be hurt by that. And there are amazing, amazing lessons in that. And I was recognizing that today, when I was saying, everybody looks at these real heartbreaks and these real problems and these catastrophes and these life situations, like, me almost becoming homeless, right? Me becoming so desperate. But in all of that, right? We pay attention. We pay attention, and it's up to us whether or not to build some walls and wall ourselves off from others, right? Because we don't want to get hurt again. But sometimes we build up those walls to keep the kindness and the considerations and the love away from us also, right? And that's, and that's that and it's not giving up, but maybe it's a little bit of being discouraged by how the moment is, not how life is, because life is a series of up and downs. And I look at people who are down, I look at people who have those low energies, and sometimes they tell me about their amazing experiences, whether it's with their family or something exciting they're doing. Maybe sometimes it's something very stressful, but it's something that will move them forward and stuff. And they're not recognizing that movement forward. They're not recognizing the effort of trying to get out of a crappy situation. And I can, right, I could point it out to them, but I think the whole idea is that they recognize it in themselves, that they feel it themselves, and then at that point maybe they can feel out to just get a little bit of feedback from others. But When people are down, right? Any little bit of a kick, any little bit of an elbow or a nudge or an unkind word, it does hurt us quite a bit, and it stops us from having those moments of, right, you can smile through this. It's okay. It's a sad moment for everybody, but maybe you're that person to maybe lighten that load, lighten that heavy, and maybe it's only by a smile, right? I'm always reminded by this word. It pops into my this phrase, this quote that Mother Teresa said, that a smile is an action. It's in the customer service that, I've worked in pretty much customer service my entire life. You could call it food and beverage hospitality, worked in bars and nightclubs. I haven't been in retail for very long. I would have to say for maybe not even 10 years in retail, but I think I do pretty good in the retail, right? Considering that, all those lessons in customer service were actually tended to in my jobs in nightclubs and bars and getting comfortable with talking to strangers and actually getting to know strangers to the point where there are regulars, they're friendly faces that we get to see, and then the next thing we become friendly with them. We get to know them because we've actually taken a little bit of an interest in their story. And we get to learn to be comfortable again, and it gives us moments to decide whether or not to bring those walls down a little bit. Those walls cannot stay up. They just can't stay up. So much was kept from me, and I was kept from so much that I think that I could have, right, not just contributed to myself, but possibly contributed to the world. Now it doesn't mean that it's going to stop me. I'm still going to give it my best shot and be proud, right, of whatever happens in that, right? But it is in getting those lessons that you can understand that nobody truly is to blame, because we're all screaming, right? The world's going to pot. This is the worst that it's ever been. Well, you try going back 200 years ago and, right, going to the bathroom at 4 o'clock in the morning at 40 below zero in a outhouse, not having a lamp to switch on so you could read a book, or computers so that you can, right, you can study and learn and make incredible movement. I'm just so grateful for this digital age as somebody who could have had a totally different story if I hadn't decided to move with social media. And I started my brand 10 years ago, and it's so incredible in those lessons of never giving up that I found more lessons in just that idea of just never giving up, just keep making that movement. And as you move and you fail and pick yourself up, and if you're paying attention and you're looking at that as lessons and not, oh my goodness, this is the worst world ever, because you're just asking for more of the worst world ever. Because I don't know, I think the world is a pretty amazing. And is everything in my life absolutely perfect? No, I just had my air conditioner blow up on me. $350 of my holiday money has got to be put towards it, right? But am I going to let that keep me down? No, because once that money is spent, once I have my air conditioner, I'm going to appreciate my air conditioner. I'm going to appreciate that I alleviated the discomfort that my cats got, right? My big fat furry cat who's just dying because she doesn't have, I got a fan on the floor pointed at her. That's the best I could do, and she's got to go till payday just like I do, right? But these are all things that at one time would have kept me in the negative state, right? And just because our nature is heavy just because sometimes, that grief does set in, the darkness and the clouds, they do set in. That doesn't mean that we have to delve into more of it. That we have to beat ourselves up. We have to, I don't know, not take ourselves into consideration, right? Because we should be smiling through the difficult times. That's how we get through the difficult times, right? You can find that smile in yourself. You can bring that smile out in somebody else. And that takes so much weight off of any hairy, scary moment, right? And it might make you look at Crazy Town a little bit different. Maybe you'll just even look at it like the crazy circus. Right? It can be a crazy circus. It can be. Okay, you guys. We are picking. Well, we're not done yet. That was just the intro. Is that what you call it? Intro. Just kind of happens. So we're picking let me just double check to confirm that we are picking up our 42nd word this week. We are picking 54 powerful words. Surprisingly, we had the word spectator last week, and you wouldn't think that that was a powerful word. But just like I was talking about here in picking up the tools and the lessons, there are so many tools and lessons to be picked up, right? Especially we're not ready to go into customer service. We're not ready to start working at bars and nightclubs and having conversations with strangers and turning them into your friends, right? You're just like, oh, right? My life is not your life. You have your own life. You have your own desires, your own joys, right? Those goals and those things that you want to happen in your life. But it only happens by getting moving in it, right? And this is kind of what we're doing here. We're picking 54 powerful words, and we're working with each one of those words, right? All week long, different perspectives. Sometimes it's an experience. Sometimes, like today, is going to be my first impression of whatever word we grab. I probably have another 20 words on this page. We may pick a word that we've already done, but I'll just go up to the next word. And if there isn't a word above, I'll go to the next word below, because we can't do any more weeks in playing with the words. So we have a few words that we're doing twice. So it's kind of neat that we have a few of those words, but we won't be doing any more of the words for a second time. There'll be one more week left before I go on my big trip. Oh, my big trip just got bigger. Oh, you guys, it's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm so excited, and I'm so excited to be able to plan it, to fill in those moments where I could be filling it in with something that's just fluff for the brain. That I'm actually, right, that idea that make yourself feel like you matter. And this is my reward. I do this trip every single year, and every year it gets better and it gets bigger. I'm doing another in September. I am doing a Lake Superior tour. It's going to be about 10 days or 2 weeks long. I'm not going to rush through it, but I'm picking different provincial parks. And because I'm coming home through the States, because I'm going to New York to dig for Herkimer diamonds. So I'll be taking the tour right around Lake Superior, and we'll be going through Michigan, we'll be going through Minnesota, and we'll be going through Wisconsin, and I think North Dakota also. So those will be the states that I'll be covering in this trip. But I have my campgrounds for the states here. So I want to go into their reservation service. I want to see if they've got pictures of their campsites too, because in Canada, we actually go on site into the website. We can actually they take pictures of each campsite, and I do my best to pick out amazing campsites way out in the bush or by a creek or by a trail or right. But that's the fun of it. Okay, you guys. First impressions, you guys. I'm just jibber jabbering now. A few minutes. We're going to chit chat about whatever word that we are going to delve into this week, and it'll be every day a different perspective or an experience or a story, right? But yeah, here we go, you guys. First impression. Oh, we got a toughie, but we got a goodie, you guys. This one is going to serve this week, I think, because, this is something I really, really struggled with when I first started my YouTube channel. I loved being a YouTube creator. At that, when I first started on YouTube, I was exploring abandoned farms. I was exploring abandoned houses, one-room schoolhouses, old churches, abandoned churches. I was an urban explorer. As we moved forward in being a YouTube creator, right? How many abandoned farms? We have lots here in Manitoba. I've got a lot of explorers. You should go to my main page and see some of my other interests. But that's the thing. The other interests are what kept my brand going, kept my YouTube going. And I started making back road exploration videos. I think I took up magnet fishing. I did metal detecting videos. I did 2 seasons of Surviving Cindy where I was doing bushcraft videos where I built a winter fort. It's pretty funny. You guys should go watch that. But in all of that, I was failing. I was doing whatever I could just to hold on to my brand. I wasn't holding on to anything else in my life, nothing. The only thing that mattered was keeping my car, and keeping my channel going. But I was committed to my YouTube channel. It was the only thing in my life that I was committed to because well, I didn't realize it in the moment. If you had asked me, I would just say, I'm going to be a YouTube superstar, right? Right? But it was fun, right? It was fun. It was something I loved to do. I didn't understand why I did it. I now have a better understand being highly sensitive and being empathic. I do understand that it was that connection to Mother Nature. It was how I re-energized, right? They have a tetric um, electricity that actually comes from the earth, teteric, yeah, teteric electricity, and it's a fact. It's scientific, and I feel it. Like just sitting in a tree, or if I walk through the grass in my bare feet. Even when I'm going to the grocery stores, I'm a bit of a tree hugger. I hugged a tree today, in fact. And I was out all day with my sister. We were thrifting and we were getting ready for her garage sale. She's got a garage sale coming up, so we were getting it all ready. Okay, so you guys are saying, "Oh, hurry up, Cindy. What's the word?" Okay. The word we got this week was commitment. It was something I struggled with from the very, very beginning. And I'm not talking about in relation to my YouTube channel, because you know now how committed I was and am to my YouTube channel. I show up fresh like a loaf of bread, right? I'm here every single day, and that will continue to happen, not during, right, my vacation time in September. I'm shut down, but I have lots of amazing content and adventures, and I, right, that reward of that trip that I give myself every year, I make that reward as content for my brand too, just like I expand it out in my other interests. you know I discovered mindset in that process. It was very familiar to me because I do believe that my father was very, I don't know, I recognized it. I recognized it immediately. I recognized the traits and the habits, the conversations, the quotes, the people that he admired. It just came rushing at me like great big huge waves. And so it caught my interest, it caught my curiosity, and I delved into the mindset. And that was the beginning of the lessons because I was so low at the low. Remember what I was saying? When you're so low, when you're so desperate, anything that's being offered to you, you'll grasp in that attempt, right? To save the situation or save yourself or save somebody else. I think I was desperately trying to save myself. I didn't realize how, like, outwardly I kind of knew how low I was. I mean, I was coming so close to being homeless, right? My rent was so in arrears, lost my credit cards. I was behind in all my bills. I was a gambling addict. I don't know how much further low financially I could have gotten myself. And all of that time I was working, right? And I was bringing in money and it was just leaving as fast, right? Remember what I said when I came into the live tonight? That once that money's gone, I don't tend to think about it. Once I have my air conditioner, I'm going to be grateful for my air conditioner. I won't even be thinking about the money that I spent and the money that's gone. I won't even be giving it any thought in any way, right? But those are my necessities. But I got that training, right? That programming not to worry about the money, that somehow it would miraculously appear in some other form. And it did. Grateful, right? But I hurt people and I hurt myself in that process. And being low in that negative mindset, right? I was kicking myself while I was down, and there was no way for me to pull myself out of that, right? And that had been going on for so long. And even in those few times that I was able to bring my nature to the surface, right? It was amazing. It was wonderful. That evidence was there. But again, that negative eventually seeps its way in and settles in again. And I ended up kicking myself when I'm down. And when you're kicking yourself when you're already down, oh my goodness, how do you get out of that, right? So you have to find those moments of smiling, of lightness, of joy, of flirtation, success in those goals and those desires, that joy in planning, right? My trip in September, it brings joy to me because I get to go into my imagination and imagine all the amazing things that I'm going to be doing. And I'm sitting here and I'm wishing to be there in the moment. Oh, I'll be walking down a trail. I'll be seeing a waterfall. I'll be seeing petroglyphs. I'll be bottle digging. I'll be digging for crystals. I'll be in beautiful campgrounds. I'm right. I got my passport again. I get to cross the border and experience it's not since I was a little kid have I experienced the campgrounds in the States, right? I have been in the States as an adult, but it hasn't been in that idea of going camping, right? And March, I've got another trip coming up, right? Arkansas and Arizona and Utah and Montana. And that's another tour that I will be taking, but I couldn't take it in September. It's just too hot down there in September, right? So we're going to do, right? And I can't wait until March. I'm ready. Like I'm ready today. Well, I'm not ready today, but I'm ready to get cracking today in getting this done. And I am enjoying it, right? And I am committed. I'm so committed to this channel. You guys, I hope you feel how much I am committed to what I'm doing. And we don't always know what we're doing from one moment to the next, right? I've had so many wrenches thrown into the mix, right? I've had so many pivots. But the one thing that has always been consistent is me showing up here and taking in the lessons, and whether they're conversations, experiences, adventures, mother nature, mindset, it's all part of the story now, right? A story that, well, I get to pick up and create now, in creation and understanding that I'm creating the best human being I possibly can. And the one thing I can understand is that human being has got to find moments, has got to be given moments of smiles and lightness and landscapes and opportunities, right? And yeah, I do believe that is coming. It's coming. And even though everybody is looking at the next door neighbor or the person down the street and going, how come my life can't be like that? Why can't things be so easy for me? Well, they can, right? That's the thing. They can be easy. It's just that movement in that thought, right? You got to try and do it simultaneously, right? Make that movement, right? Pay attention. Be the spectator, right? And take that information, put them in your tool belt, right? Because you're probably going to fall flat in your face in another 5 minutes. But you're not going to have to start, right? Where you fell on your, well, where you started first, you get to start where you fell on your face. And if you fell on your face a couple of times, you're going to, right? Pretty much guaranteed you're going to figure out a way not to fall on your face again. I am committed to my brand. I am committed into following those ideas and those intuitions and those desires. I am committed to making sure, right, that I am smiling through the difficult times because it's getting me through those difficult times, no doubt, right? Those just moments. And sometimes, it doesn't mean that I'm smiling all the time, but it's sometimes when somebody notices, right? That, oh boy, that's a lot of money, Cindy, to dish out for an air conditioner. I knew that was for a campsite. I feel for you. But that air conditioning is going to feel pretty amazing, isn't it? And I'll go, yep, it sure is, right? Yeah. Okay, you guys, that's my good chair. We'll be back at it tomorrow. We'll be looking at this word, commitment, in a different experience, conversation, or insight, or perspective, whether it's for me or somebody else. Thank you for coming and hang out with me. We'll see you tomorrow.